Welcome back to AM Northwest. An unexpected friendship between a fourth grade Catholic girl and an elderly Jewish man changed Oregon law and made Holocaust education mandatory. Here to share their inspiring dream, we welcome the author of Remember My Story, Claire Sarnowski. Claire, thank you for joining us. So first of all, tell me about Alter Wiener and your relationship with him. First of all, how you first met him.
I first met him when I was almost 9 years old. My aunt is a teacher at a school in Salem, and she was having a program at her school, invited me. I skipped the day of fourth grade, and my mom and I traveled down there to hear him speak. I got the opportunity to ride home with him. My aunt chauffeured him back to Hillsborough, where he lived, and I talked to him the whole car ride back. Got back to his apartment and he made us smoothies, which were his classic treat.
Yeah.
And I remember talking to him and we just formed such a connection. I stayed in touch with him, took my family out to visit him on multiple occasions, and then we began a years-long friendship that lasted.
Oh, forever. Okay, so, but at 9, that seems awfully young to understand, maybe I'm wrong, but to understand and get what the Holocaust meant. But did you understand it? Did you get what what was it about him that you said, oh my gosh, I want to get to know him better?
I will say that from a young age, I was always very interested in history. And my parents and teachers definitely allowed me to explore that interest, whether it was reading a historical fiction book or talking to me about an important event. And we had a family-friend connection to the Holocaust, living in Germany at the time. So I had heard, very briefly from my parents about that story, and that kind of sparked an interest. And when I heard Alter, admittedly, I definitely did not know what I knew after being friends with him for many years, but hearing his story that was focused on resilience, compassion, and love was so inspiring, because I feel so often a lot of people associate hearing about the Holocaust, of course, with the atrocities. But being able to hear his story of survival and perseverance and forgiveness, I think is truly something beautiful that stuck with me.
So tell me, how would you explain to viewers about his life? What happened? What stands out to you?
It stands out that he lost over 123 members of his family.
Isn't that incredible?
His life was completely different after being interned and being in forced labor camps. And he details that in many speeches across the Portland metro area and in his autobiography. But truly his real, shining came when he moved to Oregon right after 2000, and then started speaking. And of course, that's how I heard him, was at one of his speaking engagements. But he kind of considered that his rebirth out here.
That is so great. I didn't realize that. So why was it important for you to make sure that Oregon said every child in the state needs to learn about the Holocaust? And why was it important to Alter?
For me, I began when I was in 7th grade seeing incidents of hate, anti-Semitism, racism, not just within my school district and my local community, but within my own classroom.
I mean, there's a rise in anti-Semitism right now. It's horrendous, yes.
And I remember seeing that as a 7th grader and wondering how my peers thought that that was okay.
Right.
And I realized that as more and more people were standing up and advocating for change, that maybe I could do the same. And I knew that it had been a lifelong dream of Alter, and he had mentioned to me many times that he had tried to get it started in Oregon, but he could never really get that effort off the ground. And I originally just looked at getting it for my hometown, Lake Oswego School District, and looking into the education there. And I was shocked to find that there was very little on the books. And that was not just in the district-wide, that was also statewide. And it's nationwide as well.
He inspired this in you to do this kind of work, didn't he? I mean,
would say,
as in, you can make a difference.
Yeah, he allowed me. At first, I think he was a bit hesitant, because I think he was kind of giving up. I think he thought that after so long that, nothing was happening, will it ever happen? And I do think, and he said this as well, having a young person who kind of had that spirit, had that life, really helped kind of re-energize him. And I feel so fortunate to be able to do that, because his energy also obviously energized me as well.
Yeah. When I first heard that they made it law in Oregon, I thought, well, isn't it obvious that every child should be taught about the Holocaust? But in some cases, like I've just learned in Florida, they banned a couple of books about the Holocaust. So this is why what you're doing and what you've done is so important.
I agree, and I think it's important to note that no matter where you are, even in the state of Oregon, before the bill, and obviously as the bill's still getting enacted, I imagine it to be true, is that one classroom may be teaching it in depth, while the classroom next door may be teaching it for one day.
Right.
So it is just even within the classrooms. I think a lot of people assume that it's being taught, but if you dig deeper, unfortunately, you know, it's not. It's all over the board.
Yeah, absolutely. How did you handle when he passed away? It was a tragic accident, car accident. How did you handle that? Like, how did it make you feel?
I was devastated. We were just in the bill was about to be introduced in January, and he died in mid-December. And for me, I took the lessons that he taught me to be brave, to be strong, to be independent, and I used that energy. I was going through so much grief, but I really channeled that grief into passion.
Wow.
And even though it has been years since he passed away, it was 2018,
right.
I still find myself obviously missing my close friend, someone who is forever one of the closest people in my life. But so much of the grief that I have is turned into action, turned into advocacy. And I really use that to not help me get through his death, but also help continue his legacy.
Wow, he I'm sure is so proud of you. So what are you doing now for you?
I'm a student.
In addition to the book, which is incredible, right? That's amazing.
Yeah.
You wrote a book.
I'm a student at Boston University. I'm a sophomore, so I spend most of my time in school, but I'm here on winter break, so of course had to come visit.
Yeah.
And I'm now busy doing stuff on the book. I've been writing this since 2020. I signed the contract when I was a sophomore in high school.
Wow.
So this has been a big part of my life, but now I guess
so
I'm
great.
moving in the next chapter, so to speak, of the book.
Look at you, next chapter. Good one. There was scheduled to be a book event tonight, but that's been rescheduled because of the weather to March, and we're going to put that information on our website at k2.com. The book again is titled Remember My Story. Clara Sarnowski, thank you so much.
Thank
Great
you
job.
for having me.
Yeah. We'll be right back with more AM Northwest. Don't go away.